Hello, I'm Gerard Kelejian. I'm here today with Dr. Mary Bountrogianni, Dean of the G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education at Ryerson University. Today we will be talking about the role of continuing education and its importance for newcomers to Canada as well as those who are about to immigrate. Hello, Dr. Bountrogianni, and thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Dr. Bountrogianni, there is a question many newcomers ask. Why should recent immigrants who are mostly highly educated go back to school and continue their education here?
Well, while it is true that most actually, of our new Canadians are highly educated, there are gaps with respect to the Canadian workplace. It's very important to know, for example, what the expectations are in a new country, in a new workplace, in order to succeed. For example, appropriate communication in the office. What is appropriate in the Canadian landscape? What is inappropriate in the Canadian landscape? Scheduling. In some cultures, saying that a meeting is at 9 o'clock is just a suggestion, whereas in Canada it's an important time schedule that you have to meet. Those kinds of issues need to be learned. Also, for many very highly educated immigrants, the accreditation is not accepted in Canada until there is some bridging. And there are many schools, including my school, the G. Raymond Chang School, that offers those bridging programs so that professionals can get the skills they need, close the gaps they have in order to be successful in Canada.
The concept of bridging might not be that familiar to viewers who are overseas, who are not yet in Canada. How different is a bridging program than any other regular college or university program?
A bridging program in Canada acknowledges that the students already have training in that particular area. Let's take social work, for example, or dietitians. They're already trained as social workers and dietitians. What happens in the bridging program is they learn, again, communication in the Canadian workplace. They also learn anything that a Canadian accreditation body expects from a Canadian social worker or a Canadian dietitian or a Canadian midwife. And if something in their education is missing along those lines, that is what the bridging program fills.
As we discussed, the Chang School has developed many bridge training programs for internationally educated professionals under the Gateway for International Professionals umbrella. What can you say about these programs, and what do you see in newcomers enrolling in them?
Well, we have many programs that they include accounting, they include mid-level managers, social workers, dietitians, midwives, and now we have a new one that we started. It's a pilot project for internationally trained doctors to work in a non-medical or research field. The students that come to these are highly motivated. I mean, it is humbling, actually, and heartwarming, and I know difficult for the students who have already gone through the training to come to Canada and have to go back to school, but they do it, and quite frankly, they're grateful for the opportunity. And that is why I have a great deal of respect for these students who want to succeed in the new country and who go beyond the call of duty in order to do so.
So we talked about bridge training programs, but are there any plans to help skilled immigrants from other occupations?
We are constantly looking at the labor market. And if the labor market calls for a new field, we will look at that field. We would look at the credentials of our new Canadians that are coming from abroad, who may or may not have all of the necessary qualifications, and we will develop more. With respect to the internationally trained doctors, there is a bridging program in order for them to practice medicine in Canada. Unfortunately, the waiting list is huge. About only 5% of them will practice medicine. So by giving this new bridging program, which allows them to work as researchers and other types of non-medical professions, we give them a profession that uses many of their skills, and B, something they can do while they're waiting to bridge into medicine, if that's still what they want, or if they want to continue in the research field.
How can newcomers enroll in regular courses that the Chang School offers to upgrade their skills and better prepare them to get back into their profession here? I'm talking about regular programs, not bridging programs.
Quite often, not only our new Canadians, but quite often many students who for whatever reason didn't complete their education or want to change careers, they come first to the Chang School and get courses in order to improve their marks, and then register in other full-time programs at Ryerson University or other universities. This is no different for new Canadians. They can register in any course as long as they are able to benefit from that course, and as long as they're able to keep up with the expectations. They are able to register in any course. And in fact, many of our registrants are new Canadians, and they do quite well in our courses.
What's your advice to newcomers and as well as those who are still in their home countries and are about to immigrate? What's your advice to them when considering continuing their education here, whether it's through a bridging program or through any other regular programs?
I would advise anyone thinking of coming to Canada to do their homework first, to visit the embassy and see exactly what is expected, and so that they are not disappointed when they arrive and they're not able the very next day to get a job in their field, which is a common disappointment. So first, a visit to the embassy or equivalent in their country to ensure that they know exactly the procedures and the processes in Canada. Second, I would do a labor market research on Canada. What are the jobs that have gaps? In other words, we need more people. For example, data analytics. We need data analysts in North America, period. There are tens of thousands of jobs. If you are math oriented and you're a young person in another country and you like data analysis, it might be worth considering enrolling in a data analysis course either in your country or in Canada when you arrive. That's one example. So look at what, well, not only Canada, but let's say you're going to any other country in the world. Look at what that country needs and see if you are interested in studying that field. Maybe you already have studied that field. Then the step two is to look at the bridging programs.
How can individuals who are still overseas prepare before they come to Canada?
I think Canada should do more, and I understand that Canada will be doing more in giving better information through embassies, through portals, through websites for prospective new Canadians. I think that's really important. There are solutions. It's good to research them before you come here. It'll save you time. It might even help make your decision. You may decide not to come here. You may decide that the price to pay is too high. And by price, I don't necessarily mean money. I mean leaving your nice climate for this winter, leaving loved ones, sometimes even families separating for a while. You can't really make that decision without having full information. So I would say Canada needs to do more, but our new Canadians, prospective new Canadians, also need to do more before they come. And I guess the biggest recommendation I would give is if you don't speak English, learn it immediately. Learn it as best you can. It's very important to know the language of the country.
You're the daughter of immigrants, and now through your role at the Chang School, you're helping hundreds of new Canadians who are coming to this country. What does it mean for you personally that you're making a positive change in the lives of many?
It's an honor for me to be at the Chang School and to take part in many of these programs where new Canadians can fulfill their potential. I was very fortunate. I was born in this country. My parents are immigrants, however, and I remember their struggles. They came without language, without money, a very common immigrant story. I'll never forget one day, I was very young, when my mother threw the dictionary out the window and my father ran out and brought it back in. And so from that I saw how frustrating and how difficult it was for someone without language, without money, with children, to study the way my mother did. But then I remember when she did receive her early childhood education diploma through continuing ed in another city where I was raised, that our lives changed overnight. We went from being poor to being affluent. We went from being maybe of low self-esteem to being very proud because we had two incomes, businesses. We were part of the business growing up. We learned a lot. And I think that's what every Canadian, whether they're a new Canadian or not, should feel. That sense that, wow, I'm fulfilling my potential. And because I sensed that from a young age, it's always been my goal to help people fulfill their potential. When I was minister, whether I was children's minister, immigration minister, minister responsible for people with disabilities. That was always my goal, and I think it comes from being a daughter of immigrants. The second thing I learned from my experience as being a daughter of immigrants is perseverance. Never give up. The last year of my mom's studies, the college didn't have it in our city, so she had to travel to another city. And my father would just put us in the car and drive to that city an hour and a half, pick up my mom after she was finished. She had taken the bus, and drive us back. We were very little. And they did that for a year. We survived it. In fact, we were fine. We had fun in the car. So again, perseverance, find ways to establish yourself, to work hard. And there's so many examples in this country of people who have immigrated from other countries who are incredibly successful. In fact, when I was the chief psychologist of the school board in Hamilton many years ago, most of the scholarships went to either children of immigrants or immigrants. So again, it's that perseverance, a little bit of being an underdog and wanting to prove yourself. I think if we can bottle that and have our children who are born here take that medicine, we'd have a much more productive Canada.
Any final words to our viewers?
I welcome you at the Chang School. As former minister, I welcome you at any of our schools in the province of Ontario. We're humbled by your presence. We're grateful for what you are contributing to this country. You make certainly our jobs and our professions much more interesting and much more fulfilling. So please keep coming, and if there's anything we can do to help, let us know.
Thank you, Dr. Bountrogianni, for all the information you gave us today.
My pleasure.